Hello, and thanks for joining this episode of Breaking Down the Networking Chains. In this episode, we're going to talk about Traffic Manager, Azure Front Door, and CDN. My name is Dwayne Natwick. I'm a Senior Cloud Training Architect for Opsgility. I also hold multiple Azure certifications, and I am a Microsoft Certified Trainer and a Regional Lead for the MCT program. And you can find me on the social media links provided on this slide. So up to this point, we've covered a multitude of topics, and to continue on and to start getting into some of the application pieces of the networking components, we're now going to talk about Traffic Manager and Azure Front Door primarily, but we're going to also touch on Content Delivery Network, or CDN, as well within this particular video. We've covered virtual networks, network security groups, firewalls. We covered load balancers, and we had a bonus video this week for Azure Back to School, which was Network Watcher. Traffic Manager and Azure Front Door is very similar to how a load balancer works within the environment. We're going to talk about that and some of the differences. This particular video, because I do not have any demo app services within my environment, is not going to have a demo to it. We're going to talk through a couple reference architectures, though, for Traffic Manager and Azure Front Door and CDN that are part of the Azure well-architected framework, and kind of give you an idea of how it works within the Azure network ecosystem. So just to continue on in terms of our security posture and how the networking falls into that, we're again talking around the perimeter security aspect of things, where we're protecting our exposure and our attack surface of our applications and how our app services are being accessed by utilizing a front-end device that's going to route traffic, but also provide a layer of protection and that defense in depth for our devices and our compute resources and our data on the back end without having to expose them to the public internet. So what are Traffic Manager, Azure Front Door, and CDN? This chart here kind of shows the three in a easy to distinguish manner. Traffic Manager and Azure Front Door are very similar in how they work. But a key challenge around geo-distributed deployments is that they expose those applications to different IP addresses. But you need to be able to resolve that and be able to have those services available and be able to route traffic to the proper address. Azure Traffic Manager is a DNS-based global routing solution where it uses smart DNS to report and to route those customers on the fly and direct the customer to the appropriate endpoint for that application, and then connects to that application directly at that point. Azure Front Door is a little bit different, where it works as a web proxy solution. And you can think of it very similar to Application Gateway, which will be actually in our content next week. But the customer connections are routed to a front door IP address, and then it uses Anycast networking to connect to that front door node that is closest to the user. And it then terminates that SSL connection and makes the new connection to the appropriate backend service as a proxy. Both services have health monitoring. They have automatic failover capabilities and failback. So traffic is routed to those available backend instances very easily. Content Delivery Network does something very similar, but it is more for public delivery of services such as streaming videos. And it works a little bit different, where it's not necessarily a proxy. It's actually directing traffic to particular endpoints that are globally distributed, that are caching from the primary server that the content is located on. So it's then delivering that content locally to an endpoint that is within the geographic region of the customer that is trying to access that information. Think of a Netflix or any other video streaming service that you access a video and you have then access to that video without it having to buffer, and it provides very quick streaming access. You get that movie, you purchase that movie then caches itself and downloads itself on that endpoint that is local to your region, which then is utilized for your access and to provide quick access to that content. And the next person that comes in from your particular region can also utilize that caching and have access to that information right away without it removing itself until a certain predetermined amount of time that you configure. So how do these work? So let's look at this reference architecture here. And this is a reference architecture for the traffic manager. And you can see that traffic manager is utilizing the VPN gateways to provide a connection as well, with a load balancer that is also a part of the another tier of protection once that traffic manager routes to that particular region. And you can see then it's routing then to the different compute resources, just as we talked about load balancers last week. You can see that it's utilizing both of those components are being utilized in here to deliver resources on a global basis based on your region and routing to that region based on where that customer is trying to access. And then it's balancing that traffic to those areas as well. So it's a little bit different. It actually adds another layer to the load balancer. It can be utilized in without a load balancer if you want to, but the best reference architecture is obviously to utilize the load balancer as well. And then here with the Azure Front Door, you can see in this reference architecture, it's actually using both the front door and the content delivery network, where the front door is routing traffic to the different apps and utilizing the web apps in different regions for directing traffic based on the geographic requirements or where the geographic location is. And then you can see the CDN is actually grabbing static content from blob storage. And that was like what I was saying from a video standpoint. It's going to grab that information from blob storage. It's going to cache it then on a local endpoint that's closest to the region of that user. So this ends this video. It was a quick video today, but wanted to provide everybody with a little bit of background on how Traffic Manager, Azure Front Door, and CDN fit into that application and content delivery aspect of networking and how it works with other tools. As you can see, you still could utilize load balancers and utilize other traffic managing and traffic routing capabilities within your network, as well as outside non-Azure resources within your other network. We could put a network gateway in there and deliver to on-premises data centers as well. So thank you very much. You can follow me on the links provided on this slide, and have a great day.